Good morning. This is your stat sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is a pre-quiz on basic probability. So a new clothing store advertises that during its grand opening, every customer that enters a store can throw a bouncy rubber cube onto a table that has squares labeled with discounts amounts. So here's what they have. They have on this table, it's shaped like this, and they have a 10% square, a 20%, a 30, a 10, a 10, a 50, a 30, and 10, and a 10, a 20, and they roll the bouncy cube, and whatever it lands on is what the customer gets. Tables divided in 10 regions. Five have the 10%. One, two, three, four, five. Two have a 20%. And we have one and two. Two have a 30%, which is here. And the remaining region has a 50% discount. So if we have 5 out of 10, five regions out of 10, 5 out of 10 is 1/2. And I can do that on a calculator to have that reduce it for me. 5 divided by 10 is 0.5. And um, and I can sit there and have that reduce, math, enter, and it gives it down to 1/2. So that's all we did here. The 20%, we said that, oh, there's two 20%s here and here. 2 out of 10 is 1/5 or 20.20, etc. I like to leave it as fractions. I think fractions are easier to work with, but you can convert it to decimals if you'd like. So what is the probability a customer gets more than a 20% discount? So if they want more than a 20% discount, what they're looking for is the probability of a 30% discount plus the probability of a 50% discount. Well, the probability of a 30% discount is 0.20, and the probability of a 50% is 0.10. So we can add those up and we get 0.3 or 3 out of 10, or I could have just counted them and go, you know what? This is 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 10 or 30% because it's the probability of a 20% or a 50%. And basically it was 2/10 plus 1/10 equals 3/10, or the 0.20 plus 0.10 equals 0.3. And that would be your work. What's the probability a customer gets less than a 20%? Well, less than a 20% means we're only looking for the probability of getting a 10% discount. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just 5 out of 10, 1/2 or 0.50. What's the probability that the first two customers both get a 50% discount? Well, in this case, I'm going to need two blanks. And the first customer has to get it and the second one, which means we're going to have to multiply. Well, what's the probability of a 50% discount? Well, the probability of a 50% discount is 1/10. So we're looking at 1/10 times 1/10. And when we multiply that out, we get 1 over 100 or 0.10. What's the probability that none of the first three get more than a 30%? Wow. So what we're looking at is what is the probability that the first three either get, you can get a 10%, you can get a 20%, or you can get a 30%, but you can't get more than that. All right. So how many blanks do we need? Well, in this case, we're talking about three people, so we're going to need three blanks. So 1, 2, 3. And we look up at the table, what's the probability of getting 10%, 20%, or 30%? Because that's what we're limited to, because we have to be probability that we're less than or equal to 30%. But we have to do that 3 times. Well, what's the probability that we're less than or equal to 30%? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 10 times. And the first one has to be less than that, and the second one has to be less than that, and the third one has to be less than that. And when we say and, that means we're multiplying. So I can do this pretty easily by going parenthesis 9 divided by 10. And since we're doing it 3 times, I can write it to the third power. So I use the little caret button right here. And I get about 0.729. What's the probability the first customer to win a 30% discount is the sixth customer? Huh. Well, anyway, so we're looking for a 30% discount. So, but we have six customers. That means I have to do this 6 times. So I'm going to need 6 blanks. I'm going to mark that right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blanks. And this is 30%. Well, this is the success. Well, this is a success. They're getting 30%. So this is not 30, not 30, not 30, not 30, not 30, and this is 30. Well, what's the probability of getting 30? Well, when I look up there, I go, oh, 30%. That's 0.20 or 1/5. So the probability of 30 is, I'm going to say 2 out of 10, just because there are 2 spaces out of 10. Well, not 30 is going to be 1 minus 2 out of 10. 1 minus 2 out of 10. Paper's moving. Sorry about that. It's making some really ugly marks. And we have 1 minus 2 out of 10 all the way across. Well, I could sit there and write that a bunch of times, or I could just be smart about it and go 1 minus 2 over 10. That whole thing in parentheses, and I have to have it do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then I have to get 30% on the last one. So that's the way I'm going to put it in the calculator. 1 minus 2 out of 10 raised to the 5th power times 2/10. Now, there are other ways to do it, but that's the way I'm going to express it because I think it makes more sense. Raised to the 5th power. But I also have to multiply it by the 2 divided by 10. That did not work very well. Let me clear this out. Parenthesis, 1 minus 2 divided by 10 raised to the 5th. Parenthesis, 2 divided by 10. There. Now it looks like what I have on the paper. And no, it doesn't. I left off parentheses. Sorry about that. I'm having all sorts of trouble this morning. All right, make sure you use the little caret button to the 5th. And parenthesis, 2 divided by 10. There we go, 0.0655. And we can cut it off and truncate at the 4th decimal place. So if you cut it off right here, that looks good. And there we go. 1 minus 2/10. This 8 out of 10 came from the 1 minus the 2/10. That's where that 8 out of 10 came from. And I'll show you that real quickly. 1 minus 2 divided by 10. And you have this, and I press math, enter, enter. And we get 4/5, but that's also the same as saying 8/10. What is the probability there is at least 1? Anytime you have at least, you're going to have to do a 1 minus to win among the first 5 customers. All right. So remember, it's at least, and then you have to use the complement. And the complement means the opposite of what they asked for. So how many times do we have to do it? 5. So I need 5 blanks. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 minus the complement of 50%. Well, what's the probability of 50%? 1 out of 10. So the complement is 1 minus 1/10 times 1 minus 1/10, 1 minus 1/10, 1 minus 1/10. And probably by now someone's going, couldn't I just write 9/10 because 1 minus 1/10 is 9/10? And the answer is absolutely yes. Okay, so this actually becomes 1 minus, and then this is, you said 1 minus 1/10 is 9/10. So this is 9/10, but how many times do I have 9/10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a difficult problem. Please remember, 1 minus the opposite. Opposite is the complement. So here we go. 1 minus parenthesis 9 divided by 10 raised to the fifth power, and we get 0.4095. And once again, you can truncate right here. This 9/10, and I just want to point it out to you again, is the 1 minus the 1/10. 1/10 was the probability of getting 50%. Continuing on, next page. A company bids on 3 independent contracts with probabilities of winning the contracts of 0.1, 0.25, and 0.3 respectively. What is the probability of not winning any of the 3? Well, not winning means, first off, we have 3 contracts, so we know we're going to need 3 blanks. How many are we going to win the first one? No, this needs to be a not win. This needs to be a not win, and this needs to be a not win. Well, what's the probability of not winning the first one? Well, probability of winning is, these are winnings, but we want to not win. So to not win, this is going to be 1 minus 0.1. This is going to be 1 minus 0.25. And this is going to be 1 minus 0.3. So let's write it up like that. Oh, and you could have sat there and done the subtraction, and this would be 0.9. This would be 0.75. And this will be 0.70. So parenthesis 0.9, parenthesis 0.75, parenthesis 0.7. And we get 0.4725. We want 4 decimal places, and there we go. All right. Continuing on, what's the probability of rolling a fair 6-sided dice twice and getting a number cube of 9 or greater? Create a sample space. Or anytime you do something twice, you're going to need to create a sample space. And this is where I said it takes a moment, but if you sit there and go 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and you continue on, you're going to get very, very fast at it, and you'll create a sample space pretty quickly. Okay. They want to get a sum of 9 or greater, which means I have to add 2 numbers together to get 9 or greater. So we want the probability that the sum is greater than or equal to 9. Well, 3, 6, 4, 5, 5, 4, that's equal to 9. So all of these values are equal to 9. Well, how many of them are there? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 36, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So 10 out of 36. And we can go math, enter, enter. And it reduces to 5/18. Given the sum of rolling 2 fair dice is equal to 9, what is the probability the sum is 12? Well, remember, when it says given, here's the key word, we're looking for intersection over given. Well, what were we given? We're given that it equals 9 or more. Well, we already know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probability that it equals 9 or more, or the number of times it equals 9 or more, is 18. But we want to know what's the probability the sum is 12. Well, the only one that equals 12 is right there. That only happened one time. So that's 1 out of 18. Excuse me, I wrote that wrong. I wrote that completely wrong. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It happened 10 times. So this is 1 out of 10 or 1/10. 10 times did it equal 9 or more. And then 1 time did it equal 12. What is the probability of rolling 2 fair-sided die and getting doubles? Well, I need to look at the doubles. Where does it equal doubles? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That happens 6 times out of the total of 36. So 6 divided by 36 is 1/6. Here's where it gets tough. If the die were weighted as shown below, what is the probability of having a sum equal to 7? Okay, well, first off, which ones equal 7? And I need to look, come back over here. One, 6, 2, 5, 3, 4, 4, 3, 5, 2, 6, 1. These equal 7. So that's what I'm going to be working with. Well, 1/6, I can roll a 1 and a 6, and that will equal 7, which is 0.1 and 0.1. I can roll a 2 and a 5, and that's 0.15 and 0.15. I can roll a 3 and a 4, is 0.25 and 0.25, but I can also roll the opposite, which is 4 and a 3. A probability of a 4 is 0.25, probability of 3 is 0.25. And I can roll a 5 and a 2. The probability of a 5 is 0.15. The probability of 2 is 0.10. And I can roll this. Now, I can either roll this, or I could roll this, or I could roll this, or I could roll this. And the fact that it's or means that I have to add these probabilities, and that's what's shown below. Okay? So let's do that real quickly. Let's just check to make sure that we have our math correctly. So 0.1 squared plus 0.15 squared plus 0.25 squared plus 0.25 squared plus 0.15 squared plus 0.1 squared. And we end up getting 0.19. Okay, appreciate you watching. I hope this helped and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.